Good day, everyone. You are welcome to this week's Business and Investment Tips program, a production of Christ Church Radio. My name is Ayodeji Ebo, an investment professional. This week, we are assessing the World Bank's Development Update Report on Nigeria. The World Bank recently published its biannual Development Update Report for Nigeria, in which it assessed recent economic and social developments and prospects. The 86-page report also provided an in-depth examination of selected policy issues and medium-term development challenges in Nigeria. This episode summarizes some of the major policy reviewed and their recommendations. 1. The World Bank projected a growth rate of 1.8% in 2021 for the country, but emphasized that the government must sustain the recent macroeconomic and structural reforms. Reforms are policy directed to achieve improvement in the economy by changing the way things are done. One of the reforms selected is the petroleum subsidy, which has re-emerged due to higher oil prices. The report stated that the non-removal of the subsidy would reverse government's efforts to increase available revenue for capital projects. This will worsen the gap in human and physical capital, which would discourage private investment. 2. The World Bank noted that higher inflation rates are worsening poverty and depressing economic activities. We have emphasized the impact of inflation on savings and investments in several past episodes. The World Bank estimated that 7 million Nigerians were pushed into poverty in 2020 due to rising prices alone, excluding the impact of COVID-19. The World Bank identified multiple supply and demand shocks that fueled inflation in Nigeria, compounded by policy distortion and the pressure of the pandemic. 3. There are limited job opportunities due to both economic and security challenges. The report emphasized the inefficiency in the labor market, with the agriculture sector, which accounts for the largest employer of labor, but produces low returns. Also, the inability of the government to support the unemployed poses a great risk to the economy through widespread criminality and intensifying violence. Some of the recommended policies include: A. Reducing inflation and its impact. Firstly, adopt policies to support macroeconomic stability, inclusive growth and job creation. Secondly, protect poor households from the impact of inflation. And lastly, facilitate access to sustainable financing for SMEs in key sectors to mitigate the effects of inflation and accelerate the recovery. B. Foreign exchange management. The World Bank suggested that the Nigeria Autonomous Foreign Exchange Rate (NAFEX) should be adopted as the rate for all formal foreign exchange transactions. This will increase Nigeria's attractiveness to investors and reduce the spread between the NAFEX rate and the parallel market rate. The NAFEX rate is derived from the FX window for investors and exporters. C. Review of the trade policy. Trade policy refers to the regulations and agreements that control imports and exports to foreign countries. The World Bank recommended that the land borders should be fully reopened to trade. Recall that 4 of the land borders were reopened on December 31, 2020, after 1 year of closure. The World Bank also suggested that staple foods and medicines should be removed from the list of FX restrictions, as well as review the current list of the FX restrictions. D. Fiscal and monetary policy. The World Bank recommended effective tracking of CBN's overdraft, also known as Ways and Means, to the federal government. Also, it emphasized the need to come up with more flexible options to finance the federal government's deficit by improving non-oil revenue collection. On the monetary policy, the World Bank suggested the resumption of open market operation, a monetary policy instrument to control system liquidity based on a transparent issuance schedule to control banking system liquidity rather than the use of cash reserve ratio (CRR). The CRR, which is statutory at 22.5%, has been used to control system liquidity recently. Also, the report recommended a reduction in CBN subsidized lending to medium and large corporates to give opportunity for commercial banks. Most of these recommendations by the World Bank are not new, but we believe political will is required to implement some of the policies to achieve a higher growth rate above our estimated 3.0% per annum population growth rate. This will ensure inclusive growth and reduce the number of Nigerians pushed into poverty on an annual basis. Thank you for listening. Please join us same time next week for another interesting and insightful session. For comments and feedback, kindly forward to ccradio@rccgchristchurch.org or send SMS to 070-8246-3747. Stay blessed.